Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Captain America Brave New World. So this movie came out in February of 2025. It had a budget of $180 million and made $415.1 million at the box office, being one of the MCU's lowest, money making movies and stuff. The movie was directed, let's see, what's his name? Julius, I'm not sure I say his last name. Onar? I've never heard of this dude before. So, yeah, I am late to the game in reviewing this movie. If you're new to my channel, I don't go to movie theaters no more because I have tinnitus. However, if there's something extremely good, then I might decide to do it. I've been contemplating it. I remember back in February, I was kind of bored and just wanted to go to the movie theaters. And I thought about seeing this, but I'm like, you know what, maybe I won't. And so I kept hearing a lot of negative reviews about this movie and a lot of bland reviews and stuff. So I just decided, you know what, maybe I should not go. This movie is plagued with so much controversy, it's not even funny. The movie itself, while not a horrible movie, is just a lackluster type movie. When watching this movie instantaneously, I see about 3, maybe 4 other movies in this one movie. So it felt like I've seen this before. One of those is the Fox second X-Men movie. What was that? Is it X2 X-Men United or something like that? I forget the title of it, but it's the second X-Men movie where you have this government type person. Well, not really so much a government type person in this movie, but it's a person who brainwashes somebody trying to get certain events to happen in the government and stuff like that. Then, of course, there is the James Bond Skyfall movie, where you have a person who worked with one of the main characters of the movie who was betrayed by them and wants to ruin their reputation and everything. A revenge movie. Then, it feels like Captain America Winter Soldier. In fact, it feels like a rehash of that movie, just reworked but poorly written and stuff. There's another movie maybe it feels similar to, but I can't think about it right now. And I guess one of the Hulk movies, why not? And the problem is there just been way too many cooks in the kitchen when it came to this movie. There were numerous rewrites and everything. The entire third act had to be changed. I think the Serpent Society, I think that's their name, they were supposed to be the main antagonists of the movie and they had to be written out. I forget why exactly they had to be written out. It could be political reasons because of what's going on with the war. Maybe, I don't know. But they was taken out because Seth Rollins from the WWE, he was supposed to be in this movie and his scenes got completely cut when they took out the Serpent Society or whatever their name is. Then, you had the new director coming in and stuff like that who got picked. And he added Sidewinder and everything in the movie, which didn't make no sense for Sidewinder to even be in this movie. Literally, it is a rehash of Captain America Winter Soldier, but just completely watered down. This feels more like a Disney Plus television movie or something like that. And that's weird because, there was Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was a Disney Plus show that had Sam Wilson and Bucky. And even though it was not perfect, it was a heck of a lot better than this. In fact, that Disney Plus show should have been this movie. However, they used up all the elements from that movie, from that television series, and couldn't use it for the movie. Because from what I've heard about Sam Wilson is that, he was, of course, we all know he was Falcon in the comics, but then he later became Captain America. And one of the things about his Captain America from the comics was racial injustice, civil rights activists and stuff like that, people not accepting him for being Captain America because he's black. And that's what the Disney Plus show was all about. All those elements couldn't be put in this movie because of that, but they tried to put a teeny tiny bit of that in this movie and cram it in, and it just didn't flow. And that's the problem with this movie. This movie just did not flow. This is a Hulk movie, plain and simple as that. And the thing is, Red Hulk, the leader, all the a few of those side characters like Betty Ross and everything have no business being in this movie if this isn't gonna be a Hulk movie. Kevin Feige and the MCU failed this fourth installment of Captain America. They failed Anthony Mackie and they failed Sam Wilson. In this movie, now we got a bunch of a couple of new characters. We have old characters from the Hulk movie, and then all of a sudden we have like these new characters just crammed in this movie. And it's like, who the heck are these people? And the new Falcon dude, yes, he was from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but he had a very small role in that. So small, I don't even remember him and everything. That's how barely he was in that show. But now all of a sudden him and Sam are like best buds. It's the same thing that happened with Sam and Steve and Captain America Winter Soldier and everything, where those two met each other, they interacted, and they've been best buds ever since. And so with that movie, you have the build up to Sam Wilson and Captain America's relationship. Here with this new Falcon, it just doesn't feel the same. It's rushed, extremely rushed and everything. And this has been something that's been plaguing the MCU lately. It's to the point where it's just they lost their mojo. They really have. And they're just rushing out projects left and right. And creators like directors and writers and Kevin Feige and all them are not coordinating with everybody the way they used to back in the day when the MCU was taking over the movie world and everything. And that's just embarrassing. And it has nothing to do with the Disney Plus shows. I get tired of people blaming those for the failure of the recent MCU movies. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, people blamed it because they said, oh, well, nobody watched WandaVision. The Marvels, people blame that because they said nobody watched Miss Marvel. And now this movie, because they say, oh, well, nobody watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier. No, people watch those. It's just the writing for those movies just weren't that great. They rushed the script because a lot of the people who wrote those movies did not write those television shows or directed them, and they didn't talk to those people. So they got their cliff notes and everything from the higher ups and everything about certain things that happen in those shows, but they didn't bother to actually talk to the people who made those shows, and they probably didn't even watch them shows themselves before making these movies and stuff. And some projects are getting made before certain things come out. Take Secret Invasion and the Marvels. Nick Fury's personality was completely different in those movies, and so was his motive. What the heck happened to the president in Secret Invasion? He declared war on the Skrulls in the world, Yet this dude is nowhere to be found now. So now Ross, Thunderbolt Ross, is now the president and everything. It's like, when the heck did this happen and stuff? Was that dude's term up that fast, or was he impeached or something? And because see, nobody is communicating with each other, and projects are just happening like completely out of order and everything. And it's just strange. Like, this whole scroll thing is just gone. And not only that, but because so many MCU fans have complained about like certain things that haven't been addressed since those movies have come out, and they have a right to complain about that. Then you got the people at the MCU who's like, oh, fine, whatever, just cram this into this movie. So, because of the whole celestial thing that was in Eternals, that hasn't been brought up since that movie came out, which I still have not seen that movie. And like, so they're like, all right, fine. So y'all will stop complaining. Let's just cram that in this movie. And it's like, why? That has really nothing to do with anything. Then, like, what is it? Oh, when it comes to the supporting cast of like the Hulk movie, people's all like, where's Betty Ross? Where's like the leader? Where's Abomination? Blah 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 blah. So what did they do? They've crammed all these people in these new projects. You had Thunderbolt in like Captain America Civil War. But really, he had no place to really even being in that movie, but it was a nice addition and everything. I remember when he was in that movie, I'm like, who the heck is this? And so you haven't seen Betty Ross, and she gets crammed. Abomination got crammed into She-Hulk. You have the leader crammed into this movie and everything. It is similar to what happened, spoiler alert, with that of Ironheart. Ironheart has a main villain that has been theorized ever since WandaVision, and he has not shown up. Then he got name dropped in Agatha All Along, and now he's made his debut in a show that has no business having him in it. So that's one thing that's plaguing like the MCU and this movie, is that nobody's communicating. They're just throwing things at the wall and hoping it will stick. This is not a Sam Wilson movie. Like, they tried to add in a little bit with Isaiah, with the whole, injustice of him being arrested and how people didn't want a black Captain America, how he was experimented on. And that should have been the main focus of this movie, but yet it wasn't. Then there is Patriot, his grandson, who has not become Patriot yet. Isaiah's grandson, who was introduced in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he should have been in this movie if his grandfather in this movie. And in fact, he was in the original script, but they took him out. Their reasoning is because there are too many characters in this movie. Oh, you mean the Hulk characters and stuff? No, I believe what it is that Marvel got cold feet because the actor got into a little bit of hot water at like Universal Theme Park or Disney World or something like that, where supposedly a fight broke out between his family and some other people, and he has not been seen in the MCU since. And so, and if they wasn't going to have him, they should have recasted him. Plain and simple as that. Because the dude is supposed to be in the Young Avengers / Champions, and he hasn't been mentioned yet. And so, then you have, I forget her name, it's Peggy Carter's like grandniece or something like that. Where the heck has she been ever since Falcon and the Winter Soldier? She's now a villain. She could have been the villain of this movie. She could have been the broker or something like that. But no, they've completely forgotten about her. They're taking the wrong characters from the MCU, shoving it in this movie, and not bringing in the characters they've already established. Where is Sam's family at? His sister and his nephews? Nowhere to be found. Excuse me. And this is just depressing because of the simple fact this is not a Sam Wilson movie. Like, it's not. It's literally just like, leftovers from the Incredible Hulk without the Hulk and everything. But they can't bring in the Mark Ruffalo type Hulk because his Hulk is lame now. And a lot of people don't want to see him because of She-Hulk. And they didn't even bring in She-Hulk to try to like stop this dude because so many haters hate She-Hulk and everything. And it's like they just didn't care. And I truly believe the reason why they inserted like the Hulk and everything is the same reason in the next topic I'm about to get into, is that they don't think a black Captain America can lead his own movie. It is the same way Miles Morales has been pissed on ever since he's made his debut in comics. What do I mean by that? In the Ultimate Universe, Peter Parker died, and Miles Morales stepped up and became Spider-Man. And he's been Spider-Man ever since the Ultimate Comics. However, the Ultimate Comics later discontinued, I believe, and they later added Miles into the main continuity, a crossover to two different Spider-Man. Big event. However, in other adaptations, it's not like that. In the video game, in all the animations, whether it's television series or animated movies, Peter Parker is still alive in some way or another, and Miles Morales is basically his sidekick and everything. In the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, Peter Parker travels to a different dimension. He meets Miles Morales. Miles Morales later joins the show and becomes his sidekick. Then in Marvel Spider-Man, Miles Morales, later becomes like the sidekick to that of Peter Parker. In those video games, no PS5 or 4, whatever they call video games, Peter is alive and Miles is just his sidekick and everything. They tried to give him his second video game all to himself, but it wasn't as good as like the first one. And then you have Into the Spider-Verse, where one Peter Parker did die, but oh look, a couple of other Peter Parkers came into the movie, and they helped lead that movie along with Miles and everything. And it's just kind of like because they truly believe he can't do his own thing. Then in the second movie, Miles is more prominent in that movie. But then once again, then they bring in like Spider-Man 2099. It's like they feel like this dude can't like get the job done. And I feel like that's the same reason with Sam Wilson. And one of those reasons why is because Sam Wilson has literally been built up to be a sidekick in the MCU. Ever since he showed up in Captain America Winter Soldier, he's been the sidekick to that of Steve Rogers. And it's only when Steve got really old and gave the mantle of Captain America to Sam, then Sam was finally able to be his own hero. Problem is, people don't look at him as a main superhero. They look at him as a sidekick. Captain America's Batman and Sam Wilson is like Nightwing, and like Bucky is like the Red Hood. And that's how it's been for like the longest time. Nobody really sees Sam as his own thing. It's the same thing with Rhodey. Tony Stark is dead, but his sidekick is now this big military hero, but you don't see that in everything. And that is the problem. They just built him up too much to be a sidekick role, a supporting character role. And so most people just like don't see him as like hero material. But then you have the other side of the controversy of this movie. And that is people don't want a black Captain America. Or should I say the racist people do not want a black Captain America. Because everybody has known for the longest time Sam Wilson is Captain America. It happened in the last Avengers movie. It happened in the Disney Plus series. But Now everybody's pretending like they forgot. And now they're all like, Sam Wilson is not my Captain America, blah, 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 blah. It's those same angry, like racist trolls that don't want a black little mermaid or a black blue fairy or like a Latina, like Snow White and everything. The people who try to ruin it for everybody else and everything. And I remember back when this movie came out, there was so much controversy with those online trolls just hating on Sam Wilson. Now all of a sudden they hate him, but they liked him before. And they tried to find the smallest detail to complain about. So Anthony Mackie made a comment saying that Captain America doesn't fight for America, he fights for the whole world. They went crazy over that comment. However, Captain America himself has literally said the same thing in the comics. And when the MCU version of Captain America, he did not fight for just America. Originally, in the first movie, he did, but he also fought for the world. He's been fighting for the injustice that's been happening in the country and how the country is starting to turn into that of the enemy. He has literally turned his back on like America. And which movie was that? The Winter Soldier movie and everything, and especially in Civil War when he went on the run because he felt like this just his country doesn't represent like what he used to believe in and everything. And so if you're gonna get mad at Anthony Mackie for making that statement, you gotta get mad at Steve Rogers for basically doing a whole lot more than what Sam did in terms of turning his back on the country and everything. But yet these people pretend like, oh, it never happened. But these same people want Bucky to be Captain America. Bucky, who for over 60 years was brainwashed by a different country and like made to be an assassin. That's who they want to be like the new Captain America now that he's good now and no longer brainwashed. So you want a former assassin to be Captain America. Then they want John Walker to be Captain America, from the dude from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, U.S. agent, a man who took the serum, the super soldier serum, and literally it messed with his mind and it made him too aggressive and he killed like a bad guy in cold. I think it was cold blood. I can't remember, but he killed that dude with the Captain America shield. And these same trolls all like, John Walker should have been Captain America. And now, because of, what's that movie called that just came out? That movie where now they're in the new Avengers, the Thunderbolts or whatever it's called. Now they're saying once again, John Walker, we love John Walker. He should have been Captain. The dude's a murderer. I mean, come on now. They're saying this only because they don't want a black Captain America and everything. And they doing it to feed their fan base, their hateful fan base and everything. It's just ridiculous. But there was more controversy in this movie. This one actress who they changed her character around. I forget her name. She's the short lady who's like a former what you call it? A Black Widow. Syra Haas, I think that's her name. So basically, the controversy with her is the country she was born in, and the actress, and also her character was also born in that country. And there's a war going on in the world. And so basically they say this character will bring on a stereotype, like the people of another country that they're fighting with said that this character will bring on stereotypes and negativity and this and that, and she needs to be scrubbed from like the movie and this and that. I don't think she actually said anything controversial. I don't believe. It's just they don't like her because of her race and what country she's from. And so, and of course, because of the war, you got people who are either neutral or you got people picking sides from either country. And so, because they found out what country she was born in, that was enough for them to say they don't want her in the movie. I'm talking about the people in this country now. And so, there was controversy with that and everything. Then they completely changed her character around and made her a former Black Widow, which she never was in like the comics. Then you have like what is it? Sidewinder and whatever group he's with don't even look the way they do in the comics. And this is something that's been going on with a lot of villains lately. More and more, they're starting to look like the X-Men Fox movie villains, where they just wear regular clothes and stuff. And it just doesn't even feel like a comic book movie at times. It feels, because the Captain America movies always never tried to be a like comic book movie and stuff. Um, they always try to be more different. Like the first one tried to be like a war movie, with comic book elements. Then the second one was like a spy type thing. And then another one more like a government type, like movie type thing. And so with this one, once again, they're trying to do like another government type thing. But it just feels like a lesser version of other stuff you have seen before. Now, originally, I was going to make this video for the 4th of July. But there's not a lot of good stuff to say about it. Like, there's really not. And I've been so negative in this entire video that, like, I just can't, like, I'm just gonna make this to like a regular video and everything, which really sucks because I really wanted this to either go for one of two videos, either 4th of July or Black History Month. I couldn't even do the Black History thing because yes, we do have a black superhero leading his own movie in a predominantly white movie, but this movie has nothing to do with said black superhero. And so because of that, it just feels like an ordinary type movie. God, they dropped the ball on this big time. Like they really dropped the ball and everything. Oh, I just don't get it. Like I'm starting to now to see why people don't like this movie. It has nothing to do with Captain America having wings. I don't know why that one person said that. Like it's a whole lot of other things. This movie it's kind of like the Black Adam movie. It's been done before and everything. Like it's been done before. And um, and it's been done better before. That's the problem. And they really dropped the ball with this movie. This could have been a great movie. This could have been like something really huge for like, a black superhero in a predominantly white movie, but they dropped the ball. This could have been a huge patriotic type movie, but once again, they dropped the ball on that. Because that's another reason why I didn't add this for like, 4th of July. It is not really, because normally in my 4th of July videos, I normally do Captain America type stuff. I review all the movies and the ones that he's in, because there was always either some type of like war element going on or some type of patriotic type thing going on. But here it's not really that. It's just a revenge movie. And like then I did Last Ship. That's like a naval series and everything. But here it's just a revenge movie and everything. It's a revenge movie that happens to have a president at the center of the controversy and a patriotic hero who is not even his movie. It's just really not. And it's really sad to say. Like, this is sad to say. And it makes it harder when they introduce new characters and people ask the question, who the heck is this person? Like Sam said he had like an inside person in the White House, which is like that black secretary lady. And how does he know her exactly? Like, you know what I'm saying? And then there's like the new Falcon dude. I think his name is Joaquin, I think. And it's like, how are they such buddies? We never got to see that development and everything. It's just a crying shame. But anyways, this movie is basically about Sam, who is Captain America, and he's working for the U.S. government, and he's working for Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross and everything, who's now the president. And the big question you have to ask yourself, and Isaiah asked him, is why? Like, this man is so evil and everything. He hunted down the Hulk. He's done so many bad things in the past. Why are you working for this man? He held me in solitary confinement, and Sam even said, like, hey, he arrested me and everything, and my people, and but he's the president, and I serve my country and stuff like that. But so then, of course, there's an assassination attempt where Isaiah, for whatever reason, tries to kill the president. And so he has no recollection of this. And neither do any of the other people who started shooting up the place. So he is once again rearrested. This is though, it was kind of like that black commentary they tried to add to the movie, but they didn't do it too well. And why was there no black commentary for this movie? For the first black Captain America and then the second one is because Disney bent the knee to a bunch of racists on YouTube. Because there are so many bigots now on their YouTube videos and on Twitter and all these other things complaining about diversity, complaining about DEI, complaining about wokeness. They caved. They got scared. These people are all like, we're never seeing another Disney movie again. And because of that, Disney movies have been like failing money-wise. So Disney getting scared. So I'm like, okay, let's roll back the DEI and everything. Especially now, because that's mandatory. They did that in Thunder something movie. The one with Florence Pugh and I gotta remember what the name of that movie is, but anyway, like they got rid of the ghost character and everything because there was too many females and too many people of color in that movie, and so because of that, they threw in a little snippet, like Isaiah and everything, feeling like this is just prejudice, like towards him and stuff like that, and how they did that to him before and stuff like that. So of course, Sam is trying to figure out like, what the heck is going on, and like who hired Sidewinder and stuff like that. It leads him to like another country, and we find out it's the leader. And the leader is just basically pissed off at like Ross and everything because of the bad stuff Ross has done to him in the past and this and that. He basically wants to ruin the reputation of Ross. And Ross turns into the Red Hulk. That's it. A revenge movie. That's all this movie is. Like, and it's not even a good revenge movie. That's the thing. Now, one thing about this movie that bugs me, I'm disappointed they changed up Sam's suit. I love the white Captain America suit that Sam wears in the comics, and he's worn only twice. At the very last episode of the Falcon Winter Soldier episode, and then, of course, in the beginning of this movie. It gets one little scratch on it, and he changes it to look more like Steve Rogers wearing a blue suit, and I don't like that. I also wish he'll keep his goggles on his face because it gives him a distinct look. And I feel like, why are you caving to like these bigots, trying to make him look more like the Steve Rogers Captain America? Make him look like Sam Rogers Captain America. Now, as for the new Falcon, no character development whatsoever. He's there to be kind of like the smart guy, the cool guy, and the funny guy, because they have to add humor into these movies. Okay, it's the MCU. But we never got to see none of his development. How does he know how to use the wings? Why does he fight like a Black Widow or a Captain America or like Bucky? Like, why does he fight like them for? Military don't train you to fight like that. And when did him and Sam become such buddy-buddy and everything? I don't get it. Like, nothing's explained and everything. And so his costume is not cool looking whatsoever. The top part is, but those baggy pants just ain't doing it for me. And so the visuals are half like, split. Some are good, some are bad. I do like how Sam doesn't throw the shield exactly like Steve and everything, because he's not a super soldier. But then again, Natalie was able to throw it like he was. So I don't know. But yeah. And I don't know. It's just they failed Anthony and Sam so much with this movie because there was already people on the fence. How is this gonna improve everything? Like, it can't be that hard to rewrite a third act. Like, it just can't be. And was it cool to see the Red Hulk? Sure, but with no Bruce Banner Hulk, it's pointless and everything. It's really pointless and stuff. Now, of course, there is some tragic news with this movie. The passing of William Hurt, who was the original Thunderbolt Ross and everything. He passed away, and Harrison Ford had to step in. May he rest in peace. Harrison Ford does not act like William Hurt whatsoever. He does a good job. He just doesn't act like that dude, and he doesn't do the mustache, which he needs that mustache. But Harrison Ford did look goofy with the mustache on in that video. He was playing him up like a cartoon character with the mustache on, and I did not like that. But like, I guess they wanted to just retire this character because the actor passed away and everything, and I get that, but why even recast? Like, why even add his character here? Why not just bring in the president from Secret Invasion? There's so much they could have done with this movie. They could have like pushed the social issues of people not accepting a black Captain America. They could have brought in Peggy Carter's niece. They could have brought in like a more grounded villain with no superpowers and everything. And what was the point in introducing adamantium when there are no mutants in this universe and no Wolverine, and they have to come in from a different universe? What is literally the point of that? They're trying to please the comic book nerds, the MCU nerds and everything, and the bigots and everything, and they're not trying to make an actual good movie. But that's my gripe with this whole movie and everything. It's just an okay movie. It has some nice action. It's a movie you've seen before in at least 3 or 4 other movies and stuff. It just is what it is. Heck, I mean, like, look at the poster. I mean, Ross's face is slightly bigger than that of Sam's and everything, because it's like Thunderbolt Ross's movie, even though he just pops in and out the movie and stuff. And then there's the other controversy, the whole recasting of Ross, but not T'Challa and everything. Like, Kevin Feige and the MCU has made it bluntly clear that the reason why they won't recast T'Challa and killed his character off is because of the tragic loss of Chadwick Boseman. And a lot of people understood that at that time. But then there was some who said just recast the role, because, his death was so shocking at that time. However, as time has passed, many more people say, yeah, recast him already, but Marvel will not do that. Instead, they're trying to bring in like his son, who's also named T'Challa and everything. However, when William Hurt died, Marvel recast him instantly and everything. And it's kind of like, well, hold up, there's a double standard here. Why are you going to recast this character, who's a minor character in the MCU, but not that of the Black Panther himself, T'Challa, who is a major character in the MCU? And further disrespect, in other versions of Marvel projects, like that of X-Men 97, that Black Panther isn't even T'Challa, it's T'Chaka, his father and everything, which don't make no sense, because this is based off of the X-Men 90s, the 90s X-Men cartoon, the Fantastic Four one as well, and that version of Black Panther is T'Challa and everything. So it doesn't make no sense why they would recast one but then not the other. But I just can't stop thinking about the level of disrespect that they showed Sam and Anthony Mackie in this movie. I mean, it wasn't even his movie. There was really no true character development with him other than him being all like, I should have taken the serum, blah, 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 blah. Where did this come from? I mean, I don't even recall him ever talking about that, and that at least that much in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And it's just kind of like he didn't even move his own story along because he had no story. And he was just reacting to everything that was going around him and everything that, people would do to him. I mean, not only that, but this is, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but they basically made him like a bootlicker in this movie. I mean, he works for the government. Yeah, he's a former military man, but he hasn't worked for the military since he joined the Avengers. Not only that, but he's working for a president that so many people despise. Like, he even told us, Isaiah, like, the man threw me in, like, a prison and everything. And he spent half his time running from that dude and stuff when they broke out. And it's like, why in the world would you work for this man for? Like, it seems like Captain America Civil War meant absolutely nothing. Because they changed the whole premise of Civil War to where now it's kind of like, okay, you just can't go to any country you want to. You have to go when the government tells you to. Basically, you work for the government. Natasha, no, wait, no, not Natasha, but Steve, Sam, and I forget somebody else. Hawkeye and everything, they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to, be ruled by the government and everything. Because when there's other people who need help, they're not allowed to go and help them. So why will all of a sudden he would change his mind and want to work for like Ross and everything and in the government? Not only that, but it really shows you he has no respect for Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner has been hunted down the majority of his life by Thunderbolt Ross. And for him to go and work for him, that was a huge slap in the face. It's like, what the heck is he thinking and everything? And not to mention, Ross is a crooked person and stuff. And I just don't get it. I honest to God just don't get why they made him do that. And they're gonna release it during Black History Month. For him to work for a corrupt, politician white dude. Happy Black History Month. You know what I'm saying? But let's compare this to Captain America Civil War, where Steve moved his own story along. He's trying to fit into the new world. He has a list of things to do. He's checking them off the list. He made himself a new friend. He went on a COVID mission and everything, only to discover one of his friends and allies is doing something sneaky, which he does not approve of. When he questions her about it, stuff goes to the crapper. They have to hurry up and get out of there. Then, at some point in time, his boss, supposedly got assassinated and everything. Only for his boss to give him something like a flash drive and tell him, don't share this with nobody, blah, 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 stuff like that. So he went back to headquarters and everything, and is like, and he hides the flash drive. He's moving his own story along, and he's still reacting to things going around him, but he is still actively pushing his story forward. Then, he loses the flash drive because Natasha has it after like he questioned her and everything, and now she's gonna work alongside him. They go to like a forest and everything. They go to this this underground laboratory, and he discovers a huge plot by Hydra, and he still is pushing his story forward by trying to actively stop Bucky and everything and try to get Bucky to remember who he is. Not only that, but in order for him to expose Hydra, he has to expose Shield and everything, which will crumble that of Shield, and it will basically be no more. He's actively doing that, going against his government, going against his boss and everything, because he believes that maybe the world doesn't need spies and everything, and maybe, just maybe, the good guys are also somewhat bad because they was building like helicarriers with repulsors and stuff, being as powerful as the enemy and everything, and he saw that as too much power. He literally just pushed his story forward, whereas Sam is just reacting to everything and going along with whatever somebody says. The only thing he really pushes forward is trying to get Isaiah out the house and trying to protect the president, and then trying to figure out who assassinated him. But still, everybody else is moving his story forward. And it was such lazy, disrespectful writing, man. Like, why is this even called Captain America Brave New World? What is the Brave New World that they're going into and everything? That's never really been explained. All the other Captain America movies titles made absolute sense. And not only that, but why would he work for the government after giving them that huge speech at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, talking, I forget what exactly it was about, but basically he's all like, you don't help out other people who don't look like you and stuff. And these people, they liked it when half the world population was gone because things were easier for them and stuff. And, like, they should have built on that. They should have brought back the Flag Smasher. They should have brought back Patriot and everything. They should have had it about, like, what Sam Wilson does in the comics. You know what I'm saying? And now he has this shiny new suit made of vibranium for whatever reason and everything. Whatever. He was fine without it. Like, he took down a giant alien in Endgame. So why does he need a vibranium suit now? And now they introduce adamantium. Why? There are no mutants in this universe. They have to literally come in from another universe. Why? What the heck? I guess Kevin Feige was on vacation when they made this movie. It was nice seeing Carl Lumbly once again, especially in live action, because I know him from his voice. Now, of course, he played Mantis back in the 90s. Fox completely screwed that television series up. He was Martian Manhunter, The Voice, he's done some other live action stuff here and there. And so it was nice to see him again. And like, honestly, I feel like, and yeah, this would have sucked that they would have done this, but in a way, I kind of wanted to see his character not so much be evil, but be disgruntled to the point where, yeah, he did take out his anger and frustration out on the government because of what they did to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, and confront like Ross and all them other people and stuff like that, to where he is a antagonist, but not like an evil, murderous one. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could have disrupted things and gave like a big speech, and then Sam could have been all like, I see where you're coming from. I experienced that too. Something with some heart and some meaning. And to where, like I said before, he's not like a full-blown antagonist, but it's like he is causing like a problem by the stuff he's saying, and like say like protests or something like that, right? That he's gathered a bunch of people and stuff like that. And then you have this completely other villain. You know, they could have had Sidewinder be like a main villain, you know, and like really cause some problems and everything. And like, you know, there could have been something with Sideliners like, yo, man, I understand where you're coming from. Like, I'm doing this for you and blah, 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 blah. That's why I'm hurting all these people. But only for him to be all like, no, I don't want people getting hurt and everything or something like that, you know. And then Sam is trying to like diffuse the situation between both of them. And it could have been something like that, like something with some heart, something with some meaning, something with a message, because that's what like Sam Wilson is all about. But they completely dropped the ball. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.